Jones and Keefe, WEEI, taking you up until 2 o'clock today. We will go on the clock at high noon, 60 seconds each. Championship weekend preview. Kiefer Madness for you at 12:45. You hear that music, you know what it means. Time for Rob Bradford, weei.com. He's brought to you by McFarland Energy, the heating, cooling, and bioheat delivery pros that Eastern Mass and all of Cape Cod depend on. McFarlandEnergy.com. So you know that music, you know it means Bradfo. Keith.
Sure does.
What you may not know out there is it also means Rich Hill joining us here in studio with Bradfo as well. How about that?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Wow, excellent.
So,
yeah, I mean,
excellent.
If you read the New York Post, he just retired on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast.
Wow.
But, I mean,
How about that?
it's up for interpretation, I think.
Is Bradfo
A soft retirement? What happened?
Go ahead.
Planning not to play.
Yeah. No, that's what I am the master of getting people to admit they aren't going to play. Not necessarily retire, but saying I'm not playing next year. But listen, never say never, right? Correct.
That's right. They just keep the arm.
Oldest professional active athlete in the four major sports
Keep that
sitting
streak
right
going,
here
though.
in studio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Older than Rivers.
Oh, that's right. Philip Rivers came back.
All right.
How about
Trying
that?
to knock you off the mountain
You
there.
look great.
Were you pulling for him?
I was pulling for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had him and his. He has a football team up in the booth there with him. His whole family. That was great.
Well, listen, you came
A lot of
off
kids.
you came off the fields in Cooperstown, and like a week later you were pitching for the Red Sox last year. So
Yeah, it was the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you were the Phil Rivers before Phil Rivers.
Speaking of Cooperstown.
Oh,
Yeah, here we go.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Rich is already laughing.
Yeah. Oh, he was berating me in the hallway.
Good job, Rich. You should.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, Rob. You voted for 7?
Yeah,
Did I miss somebody in there? So
All right,
I was
let's-
watching the video. You had batting stance guy on
I just gave the list of batting stance guys.
Okay. So he might have added or
who
subtracted for all we
knows?
know.
Yeah, let's hear him.
I'm looking at Andrew Jones,
Not a Hall of Famer.
Andy Pettit,
Not a Hall of Famer.
Felix Hernandez,
Not a Hall of Famer.
Alex Rodriguez,
Hall of Famer.
Manny Ramirez,
Hall of Famer.
Chase Utley,
Not a Hall of Famer.
Dustin Pedroia.
Not.
You missed one.
Apologies. Not
Who's
a
the
Hall
other
of
one?
Famer.
Did you
Oh,
also
who
vote for
else?
Beltran?
Beltran.
Oh,
You
so
did.
I was watching the video. I must have missed that. So you did vote for Beltran. So
Yeah.
both guys that got in, you voted for.
Yeah.
Jones and I are small hall guys. And I don't
Yeah.
want to disrespect anybody on that
I
list.
mean,
but I count 2
clearly
Hall of
Jones
Famers.
is also doesn't mind the drama, the controversy. Which I don't either. I voted for, as you said, I voted for the Manny and I voted for A-Rod.
Yeah,
and
that's good. Those were good votes.
I don't have a problem. My problem is some of these other ballots that come out about these random 2 people,
Shin
1
Soo Choo.
people,
Yeah.
and I'm not a guy. Also, if I'm I would vote for Rich, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
But he'll never retire.
I was
So
going
he's
to say,
never gonna be
10
on the
years from
ballot.
now, maybe you can vote for him.
I'll
but
be
he's on the
dead.
ballot. Yeah.
I for instance, I did a book with Mike Lowell. I didn't vote for him,
Okay.
so I'm not that. But I don't. I'm up for
Joe Kelly
I'm up-
going to get a vote?
Joe Kelly. There's a very
You're
good
voting for
chance
Joe
he-
Kelly. I know you are.
Yeah.
in fairness, I'm contractually obligated. When you have an LLC with a guy, you
Yeah,
have
you're
to
voting
you
for
have
Joe
to
Kelly.
vote for him.
That
but
makes sense.
but I'm
Yeah.
up. Hey, I'm up
Is
for
that
the
how,
debate.
is
Bring
that
it
how
on.
Shin Soo Choo got a vote? He's
I
got an
think
LLC
so.
somewhere?
He
Is
must.
that-
He
yeah.
must be. He has a podcast or a book with somebody.
But bring it on, because as I said, Rich was in the hallway. In the only way that Rich Hill would berate someone, he was just rolling his eyes at me.
So-
Yeah.
So what are you mad at Rob about? Because there are way too many guys on that ballot. I don't like. No offense to Beltran or Andrew Jones, great players,
They're great players, but
not Hall of Famers
Yeah.
to me. So what was your
Yeah,
issue?
but
with Rob?
where's the line? That's the thing. Like, where does it end? Everybody has the debate on, well, you've been able to have a great, 10-year span where you dominated your decade, and I understand that. But also, there has to be something for longevity as well in the game. And I think being able to consistently put up numbers over the course of your career speaks for, opening up guys that haven't gotten in at this point. That should be revisited if we're going to continue to keep moving that line down and down further, lowering the standards in a sense.
Yeah, they have lowered the standards. I agree.
But the genie's out of the bottle. I mean, this is the problem, and I was telling Rich as he was berating me in the hallway. I said, "I
Which
get
one?
it, Scott, everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
all the Riches.
all I was trying to do was get some pasta for the first time in like 10 years.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a carb in 10 years, but Scott Rowland is a perfect example of this.
Yeah.
And Scott Rowland was a guy. What I said, well, if you 10 years ago, I would never vote for Scott Rowland. But Scott Rowland has a 70 WAR.
Yeah, no one really did 10 years ago. He then magically got in.
same with,
after
like,
a long
Andrew
time.
Jones
here's
is another
the reason
example of
why.
that. Yeah.
because
His WAR didn't increase over these 10 years.
Because he has a 70 WAR, and nobody who has that level of WAR isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he should have been the first.
Well, okay. I mean, Dwight Evans, if he was on the ballot right now, he'd be in like that.
Yeah.
Like, he would be in like that. But I don't know if you know that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know, I've heard.
No, he's
Yeah.
not.
Well, Louis Tiant.
Oh, Louis Tiant should be in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how does that get revisited?
It doesn't. I mean,
Veterans committee,
well,
right?
the Veterans
Well, those guys
Committee, and then
did-
he didn't. That was last year, I think, and he didn't get in.
Yeah.
I can't speak to them because I'm young. I'm not a veteran.
Jimmy Key.
What? Jimmy Key's nice. Jimmy Key.
I know.
He has been a
Oh,
random baseball
wait.
player.
You guys are giving me crap for
got
my
like
Hall of Fame
200
ballot, and
Yeah.
he mentions Jimmy Key.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Jimmy Key.
Jimmy
He
Key,
was really
Toronto,
good.
Toronto Blue
No.
Jays. Got over like what 250 wins.
I just said he was a random ball player. I didn't say he should be in the Hall of Fame.
random player one day.
Which, by the way, is a random baseball player of the day later.
Yeah, we could. We could have Rich reveal the random ball player.
Jimmy Key was a 2-time World Series winner, 5-time All-Star, and had the lowest ERA one year.
So
2 runners up in the Cy Young and a 4th place finish.
Oh, nice.
Better than some of the guys you voted for.
I stand by every single person I voted for.
Well, Rich, you have a unique perspective that we just watched the game. You going up against somebody like Carlos Beltran, or I don't know if you've pitched against Andrew Jones. You must.
Yes, yeah, I did.
Like when you obviously a very good
he
hitter.
literally pitched against everybody.
No, but you did.
He struck out Kyle Tucker last calendar year.
That's correct. That
Yeah.
is correct. Played with Babe Ruth.
$60 million for this
$60 million
guy.
dollars, he struck him out.
That's good.
Yep, rode the trains with Wilbur Wood.
But like when you were pitching against Beltran, and maybe you don't think about this like during the game, but you're like, that's a Hall of Famer, or that's a future Hall of Famer. Or you're like, oh, that's just a really good hitter.
Yeah, it's a really good hitter. Yeah. No, it's a great point. But I mean, there are guys, that you have suited up with and played against now as you age and get in the game or whatever it is. Like, yeah, he's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. Buster Posey next year.
Posey's
Posey's in, right?
I would vote
100%.
But
say
but the
100%.
other guy next year is going to be John Lester.
No.
So, yeah, my knee-jerk reaction would be no. But then when you factor in all the postseason stuff, and that's why I think like Kurt Schilling should have been in, never
Yeah.
got in. But I think the postseason really pushes the scales on that.
I would put Schilling in. I wouldn't put Lester.
So
in.
Lester is what is he? Let's see,
200 wins.
200 wins.
A lot of postseason stuff. He has the as I said, he has what did I say? ERA plus or something. Like he was better than CC Sabathia.
But that's like the Pettit case.
5
and I would-
All-Stars,
I wouldn't
3
have
World
Pettit in.
Series. He has a fourth, a runner-up, and a 9th in the Cy Young.
NLCS
You know what I
MVP.
use?
Right.
My,
yeah,
my
you factor that in.
initial for position players anyway, when we were looking at steroid era and everything else, I would say, okay, look at the top 10 or top 15 in MVP voting.
Yeah,
and
that's what I
stop
do.
then
Yeah.
because it shows a dominance in the air, and that's where Jim Rice, like, oh my goodness, unbelievably dominant. And honestly, for Felix Hernandez, that was a big. I didn't vote for him last year, and I'm just like, I can't ignore
Really a
how
lot of Cy
dominant
Young.
he was.
Yeah, I like Felix.
Who would you vote for? Like you?
Well, Posey. I would
Okay,
definitely
but on
next
this
year.
year. So let's go. So of the people this year, would you vote for Beltran?
Yeah.
Would you vote for Andrew Jones?
Yes.
That's a no.
No, it was a yes.
Well, we're both no's.
Yeah,
on
we're
both
no.
of those
We're
guys.
Felix
both those
Hernandez?
No.
Why, can I just ask why? Because I think I agree with you on this. He was very dominant. To me, it wasn't quite a long enough shelf
That's what
life of
it is.
dominance.
It's the longevity
he fell-
part.
he fell off a cliff.
I get caught up personally as a player, just like looking at the longevity of what guys.
All right,
have been
Chase
able to do.
Utley.
Former teammate, great guy.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
Dustin Pedroia. Dustin
But that's the thing is,
Pedroia.
No, I don't
All
think
right,
the
save
numbers
that
are there.
tape. Let's see. You don't text him.
no.
Right?
No, I mean, I
just
they can't all
look,
be
and
Hall of
Chase, I
Famers.
don't think that's the thing. And you look at what John has been able to do. They've all had unbelievably great careers, but the Hall of Fame is and no offense, I don't know if you talk about other Hall of Fames in other sports, it seems like it's pretty generous.
Yeah.
How come, or how much do you think not allowing like a wave of generational players in has changed how people vote, where they're like, well, we need somebody in there. So like Bonds, Clemens, A-Rod, Manny, like those guys just watching them, you're like Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer.
Sosa.
Everybody's kept them out. And then now it's like, well, we have to have like a celebration. We have to have somebody like get honored every year. So then you vote for people that you wouldn't have voted for.
I think that there's definitely been an acceptance. I think I saw something with the new voters of how guys like Chase Utley was a new voter guy. Like he got this huge bump. And there has been a lot of new voters because they've turned this over. For instance, MLB, this was one of the most fraudulent things of all time, where they wouldn't let MLB.com writers vote for the Hall of Fame. I mean, Ian Brown, who's been covering the team for 25 years, they wouldn't let him because, you're MLB. Well, here's the news flash. Everyone who goes on the MLB network gets a paycheck from MLB. And they're all voting for the Hall of Fame.
That's
but
weird.
anyway, they finally did. This was the first year they let these people vote.
Wait, this year's the first year?
First year.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
I mean, so there was like 20 or 30 guys and women who basically were allowed to do this. And so that's where the mindset changes, I do think. But it's still, I said this, Manny Ramirez still only got maxed out. He's off the ballot now. Maxed out at 37%.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, this is a guy, like, you watch him, and I get it, like, he was popped for this stuff. And I think maybe that's the tipping point.
So here's something we brought up too yesterday is so Manny and A-Rod. So some guys were just suspected of it. Other guys got caught and got suspended. But Manny Ramirez's first suspension was, 50 games?
I think
right?
that's right.
He got popped for roids, 50-game suspension. Carlos Beltran got caught up in the Alex Cora, AJ Hinch, Houston Astros thing, lost his job with the Mets, and they're like, he's a Hall of Famer. So like so that cheating scandal doesn't matter?
What about Pete Rose?
Yeah, well, he's now going to get in because...
he's...
Like, what about guys like Ron Santo? I mean, being around a guy like that, who third baseman for the Chicago Cubs for a long time and gets into the Hall of Fame, would have loved to have given that speech. He lived and breathed and everything about baseball, and then he passes away, and it's like, we'll put him in now.
Yeah, well, Louis Tion's the perfect... As soon as Louis Tion passed away, everyone looked up his stuff. It's like, how is he not in the Hall of Fame?
You're like, could have looked it up sooner.
Wow,
it was available.
I know.
He also was on the ballot for a long time.
Yeah,
and
no,
didn't
they
get
had
in.
chances,
I mean, I would just say, like, to me, the Andrew Jones stuff is in. He started at 7% on the ballot. Pedroia's a little like this, too. You voted Pedroia?
Yeah.
Pedroia was at 10% his first go. Now he's
11.
up to
now
11,
he's up to 20. I mean,
20.
Billy Wagner. I mean, you can still...
right.
But so, do you think Pedroia, I know you voted for him, so you think he should be in. Do you think that jump tells you he could be a Hall of Famer?
I still don't think he probably will get in. But
it's a good jump, though.
But it is a good jump,
Yeah.
and Utley helps him. Utley helps him a lot, I think. And we've seen these jumps. I mean, really, it's kind of crazy. And I always said this: Burt Blyleven was the guy. If I woke up this morning and said I was going to utter Burt Blyleven at 11:35,
there was always a fight for Burt
hold
Blyleven,
on.
Jack Morris,
I mean,
Tim Raines.
There must be a sick brag bro somewhere in there.
But
we
already have a bunch.
But,
Yeah.
but he was the guy every year. Every single year he didn't get in, he would go on 15 radio shows and say, I don't care. Like, it's like, but like, I did this,
Here are
and I
my
did
numbers.
this, and I
I'm
did
the
this,
only
and I
one
did
that did
this.
this.
He
That
stayed
kind
in
of
the
thing.
public eye
Yeah.
just long enough to finally get in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You got anything more Hall of Fame stuff?
No.
Okay, Rich, what do you think of the offseason the Red Sox have had and kind of loading up on pitching where they just introduced Suarez? Obviously, Crochet had an unbelievable year, Sonny Gray, and it looks like the strength of the team is clearly with the rotation.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, I think in that sense, they need to go ahead and grab another bat. I think that would be huge. Missing out on Alonso probably hurt. I think Bregman, in a sense, I know that was a popular vote around here, but something where you have a chronic hamstring that continues to keep coming up, where you're trying to get a guy that's going to play as close to 162 as you want. I think you're kind of shaving in more 130 for him. And there's no doubt he was a great presence in the clubhouse. He was another coach. Everybody spoke the praises of him. But again, I think that was probably a good mess for the Red Sox as opposed to maybe Pete.
You wanted Alonso, right?
I love
Alonso.
I think Pete's great. I mean, he played with him in New York, and just the presence that he brings in the locker room, and also how he carries himself in the public, and what he gives you on the field is incredible. So, as far as run prevention and where they're going in that direction, that's seems like it's.
See my Texas Rangers stat?
I did. We read this earlier, so I
sure
don't know,
did.
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but
I got the point from Rich.
They led the Bigs in ERA last year.
And by the way, I didn't
horrible
mention this
against-
defensive run saved as well.
Oh.
They were horrible.
The ultimate run prevention
Out
team.
conversions.
Yeah,
as Breslow
Breslow
say.
referred to it. They were horrible in games where they scored 3 or fewer runs, and they didn't make the playoffs. So I think the Red Sox are potentially built to win games in October, but you got to get there, and the Rangers are a cautionary tale.
So when we had the much publicized Ranger Suarez press conference yesterday,
We're going with Ranger, by the way.
Ron Hare?
I can't even do it.
Okay.
I
Can't do what?
I can't speak. I can't even say his real name.
Ranger.
No.
Ron Hare.
Yeah.
Is it Ron Hare?
Ron Hare. Okay.
That
Ron
sounds
Hare.
like a separate player.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Ron
signed
Hare.
Ron Hare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at
Random player of the day.
but when Breslow was talking about, when we met with him after, and he was talking about this stuff about, like, hey, don't discount how important it is, how you can basically ride the wave of having really, really good pitching, how that makes you feel like you're in every single game. I kind of understand, like, he has to say that until he gets another bat. But as I said, like, that's not really a reality. And the Texas Rangers are an example of this. And Rich can speak better than I can, but I feel it puts pressure on everybody when you build a team that way. It puts pressure on a guy like Roman Anthony. You got to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And all the other hitters. And also it puts pressure on the pitchers because if you're in every one of those games and you're living the life of a 3-2 game, like, Rich, like that takes a lot out of
it's
you.
very,
Right.
they're stressful during the season, and the teams that I've been on that have been highly successful can score from innings 7 through 9.
Yeah.
So that's where you win a lot of ball games as a really good team. But they're also going to need somebody to complement Garrett Whitlock in the back end of the bullpen. I mean, you got the Cuban Missile back there who's going to be doing great throughout the whole season. Had a great season last year, but looking at what Garrett's going to bring, and obviously his proficiency in the setup man role, but you're going to need another guy in there to ease some of those innings, because 80 innings, you're looking at 70 to 80 innings for him next year. I mean, that's a big workload.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just came away from, and I agree, I mean, there's just work to be done, and I understand Breslow has to sit there and say that, but they can't possibly go into the season without another bat, because let's just add it up. You went in, you said your stated goal was to get that bat. And that was the assumption, whether they'll admit it or not, that Bregman was coming back. It wasn't like, the bat that we're going to get is Alex Bregman. No, you already had Alex Bregman. The whole idea is, with that team with Alex Bregman, you need another bat.
Yep, but you have to get the bat that wants to play in Boston, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Pete
is
Alonso's
real...
wife is from Massachusetts.
Still didn't work.
Braintree, Mass, I
Oh,
believe.
really?
I think. I don't know.
You guys don't want to play her?
I think I think that's a little bit of a theme where guys don't, let me put it this way. They hear things, and then when you get here, it's a different story, right? So you get perceived coming into Boston differently than what you actually see when you get here.
What do they hear? Like about ownership or about the city or the media or
well,
what?
I think it's the immediate feedback that you get when you're here in Boston, which is great, and you got to love it. And that's something that is genuine, and it's genuine from the fact that the fans want you to do well. They don't want you to suck. They want you to play well, and they want to see your best effort. And then going out there and playing in a place like Fenway Park is, it's a dream. But also to have that immediate feedback where you're playing in front of 40,000 fans every single night is completely different than, being in Milwaukee where you're leading the division and the stadium's half full on a Wednesday, right? So being able to understand where it's coming from, and all it has to boil down to is your effort, and that's all anybody wants to see here in Boston. That is something that, guys see, and they start to understand that, and then they gravitate towards becoming a Red Sox.
Yeah, that's what I think was so bad about losing Bregman and Schwarber is like those are two guys that were great here. The fans liked it. They wanted to be here. They were perfect for the team and whatever else, and they were gone. Circling back to your career, and we were sort of talking about this for some of the Hall of Fame stuff. Is there one hitter that you faced that stands out as the best hitter that you faced in your whole career?
Well, Buster Posey apparently owns me, so I didn't really. I mean, that was one thing that I didn't really pick up on. And again, but back to your point about like when you're facing hitters, you're looking at him as like, oh wow, this guy owns me, or he's a great hitter, or whatever, or is he going to be a Hall of Famer? It's more so, okay, I have to get this guy.
How do
out.
I get him out?
Yeah, and then when you look back on it, I've done very well against guys who are in the Hall of Fame. So I think that should bode well in 6 years for my vote.
Oh, there we go.
Let's start
Bradford's
politicking.
vote.
I mean,
You're
we're going to be
Bradford's
politicking.
vote. Yeah.
Is there anything over the course of your career, like one thing that came up with Suarez is that he seems like an outlier for Breslow and like the guys that Breslow's targeted, high velocity, big extension, like those guys. Suarez is a different kind of pitcher. Is there anything you've seen scouting pitchers or the way the priority organizations put on pitching that you disagree with, or you've seen that over time you think maybe baseball has wrong?
Yeah, I love the Suarez signing because it shows another side of pitching, right? And it is pitching, it's not throwing. And this year, coming into the 2026 season, we're going to have the ABS, automated balls and strikes, which I think everybody's going to love in the first month. And then going after that, they're going to see, okay, this is starting to drain away from the time where we were trying to increase the time of games and kind of keep everybody's attention span with the pitch clock. But again, back to your question about the ideas of pitching and what direction teams go in. Yeah, I see some teams kind of get pigeonholed into one way of thinking and not kind of seeing the whole spectrum of what can be desired as a pitcher and the creativity side of pitching and also the different aspects to it, which is the multiple quadrants of the strike zone. How do guys actually make that work for them, as opposed to just here's my best fastball and here's my best breaking ball every single time. It's more the hammer and the nail approach sometimes, and then the creativity side. But a blend of both of those is what works best at the end of the day. And on the inside of that is but getting a group of pitchers who can pull for themselves as much as they'd be pulling, pull for each other as much as they'd be pulling for themselves in the situation when they're out there on the mound. That's a team, and that's what you're really actually trying to acquire and pull together.
Bradford, trivia question. Who has hit the most career home runs off of Rich Hill?
Buster Posey.
No, not Buster
Give me
Posey.
a team.
No, he owns Buster Posey.
Give me a team.
Oh, yeah, I had that backwards. Sorry.
Do you know the answer?
No, I don't.
Okay, so he played for a bunch of teams. Played for the Mariners, played for the Mets.
Oh, it's like random baseball player.
It is like random baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, Mariners, Mets.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Do you know?
Definitely more teams. Let's see.
Definitely more teams.
Well, no, he played for a few teams. I
Phil
remember
Bradley.
What position?
Outfielder. Also played for the Red Sox. Played for the Padres, Brewers, Reds, Marlins.
Benny Agbayani.
So who knows where he got you?
Wow.
Outfielder, good defensive outfielder, one-time All-Star, three-time Gold Glove.
Done?
The only guy with 4 home runs, right-handed batter.
No,
4 home runs against him.
4 home runs against Rich Hill.
that's the most.
That's nobody. According to
There we
this
go.
number,
Hey,
nobody
that's
hit more
the
than that.
reason.
I don't know who.
Cast your votes often.
Mike Cameron.
Oh,
Mike Cameron's the answer.
Oh, funny story
Is
about
it all?
Mike.
Is it all coming back?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I bet.
So the 2011 Bruins win the Stanley Cup. They bring the cup into the locker room, and I had just had UCL's Tommy John surgery, and they bring the cup in, and Mike grabs the cup and he holds it over his head, and the guys that
they lost
came
their
in,
mind.
oh yeah, because you're only allowed to do it if you win the cup, and then I was like, oh, I'm next. They're like, no, go back to your locker.
my Mike Cameron story was that when he played for the Red Sox, I barely knew him.
Yeah.
He came in with 2 pairs of Cole Haan shoes and gave them to me because he felt so bad that I looked so
Really? Yeah, nice guy.
Yeah.
He's like,
nice guy.
You dress like a bum.
do anything for him
Hits
today,
home
Rich?
runs, a nice guy.
We're going to lunch.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Rich
Also, I want to
Hill-
know real
oh, sorry.
quick. So you've played for 14 teams in your career. Do you have a room with 14 framed jerseys? Because
They're
that's
not
exactly
framed.
what I would do.
Yeah, they're not framed.
Okay.
I just have them all out.
You have them all, though?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have them all out with like on a coat hanger. So if, the
Try 'em
chance that somebody comes by and's like, oh, hey, you always
Pretty
see
sweet.
it behind a frame and you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
touch
yeah,
it.
yeah, you
so,
can't wear 'em. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
put
awesome.
it on. Yeah,
But
let's throw a
the
bullpen.
ideas were
Throw some
popping for
batting
the real
practice.
retirement announcement. We're talking
Yeah.
about like cornfield. We're talking about taking off like
batting
the 14
stance guy to help you out.
Well, I mean, the ideas are there's a lot of ideas popping.
great.
So, yeah.
Call the New York Post. They'll
Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Brad,
That's right.
Bradfo, Rich Hill, good stuff here today. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with what are you guys up to for the rest of the day? You said Bradfo's
Baseball is important.
We're going to go in the parking
Ubering you
lot, throw
around,
the
yeah.
ball around.
Nice. Go
Got
ahead.
all my jerseys in the back of the car.
Go have a catch. All right. Well, good stuff. Thanks for coming by, guys. We'll get to your phone calls coming up next.